background music going. Might be a little loud. Look at me. Just Chatting Stream. Hello, and welcome, everybody. Today's Friday. Not too loud for me. Turned down for everybody. Welcome to today's Friday Zatsudan, Foxu Just Chatting Stream. I am your streamer, Sanish, a VTuber who works in the corporate tech environment and slowly tries to escape from it through the beauty of streaming. With the goal one day of making dollars while streaming and be able to quit my real job that causes psychic damage at times, deep psychic damage. Some days it's fine. Some days it's easy. Some days it feels great and I'm productive. Then you have days like today. It's a Friday. I took a sick day yesterday because my internet was out. And I said a couple stakeholders, just a couple real downers. But we're not here to talk about that. We could be. If anyone wants a Fox Boys complaints and gripes about the corporate environment, we could have that stream. The audience would be nobody. The overlap, the Venn diagram of people who it's actually one of those three-way Venn diagrams. People who watch VTubers, people who want to hear about the corporate environment, and that's it. Probably still a decent amount of overlap there. Here's some Foxboy VTuber talk about it, be like, oh, at least that Foxboy's having those same problems I have. But we're getting all things not off track, just getting started. So I'll pretend I wasn't just streaming an hour ago. My pumpkin pie that I pulled out of the oven looks fantastic. It still needs to cool a bit before it can be eaten. I'm not going to eat a slightly unset hot pie. One of the perils of the custardy delicious pumpkin pie. So today's agenda, pretty straightforward, pretty simple. I don't know how long the stream's going to be. I've said that before and it's ended up being like double the length that I expect. It turns out some of us are yappers. And I went in, well, let me get started on the context. I should write this down. Talking to drivers. I have a notepad of things I want to talk about, and I'll try to keep it as a consistent narrative in some way, or on topic, or on brand, for my own sanity. I realize this is mostly a introspective stream for myself to process how the trip went, what I liked, how things good, bad, maybe hope other people can get something out of it. Maybe not, who knows. But so on Friday, let's back to that. About 6 months ago, it really was 6 months ago. About 6 months ago, a group of internet friends, I'll call them internet friends. Well, they're less internet friends now, but they're people who met on a local Discord, got together online and said, hey, it would be great if we took a trip together. And people are always proposing big, grandiose trips like, oh, let's go to Japan, let's go to South Korea, let's go to France, or like some like far-flung location, like a deep commitment, both time and finances. And some of us, those of us in the perhaps older, perhaps wiser, perhaps more traveled community, are those who have seen some things through different relationships in the past, said, you know what? Let's try some smaller trips first. You know, not everyone is how do you say? People could be the most compatible people in the world in all facets, but then when it comes to travel, the truth is revealed, the wool is torn from the eyes, and you see we don't travel that well together. It's less fun. So this was stage one was a driving trip to a nearby city. Stage two was this weekend trip to Las Vegas that we started planning 6 months ago. And the numbers of people swelled, diminished, swelled again. I think it was like at the end, it was 7 of us, which is a good, reasonable number for our trip. If anyone's wondering what a good trip number is, it makes table reservations a bit awkward, but 6 is a good number. So we all got on flights. Some of us the same flight, some different flights. We all flew to Las Vegas on Friday, and we spent Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night. Some people spent 3 nights. Some of us spent 4 nights. I returned on Tuesday. I forgot. I totally forgot. I always forget about Veterans Day as an American holiday. And it always sneaks up on me. All of a sudden, it's like, there's a 3-day weekend in early November. And I'm like, what? I'll take it. I'll take it. Every time I'll take it. And so I forgot that we scheduled this over Veterans Day, which is a nice little bonus. Only had to use 2 PTO days, which is kind of nice. So we flew out to Las Vegas, spent 4 nights, and then returned home on Tuesday, which is why I didn't stream last weekend or on Friday. And of course, I did not stream on Wednesday because my internet went out for like 28 hours. Oh, it's a deep, deep suffering to be an internet person and lose one's internet. It's like losing a separate limb. Maybe not that dramatic, but emotionally it feels that way. So today was the first stream back. Satisfactory. Now we're here talking about our trip or my trip to Las Vegas. Some people from this trip may be watching this as a VOD, maybe watching it live. I don't think they're all live. I think everyone who's on this trip either doesn't watch or is busy at the moment doing other things, which is fair. You don't need to prioritize my streams over everything else. I see, it's fine. I don't take it personally. Not personally at all. So, Las Vegas. About 4 people in our group have been to Las Vegas before. I've never been to Las Vegas. Las Vegas is a place I honestly had minimal interest in ever visiting. But I figured, you know what? I should go at least once. You can assume you like a place. You can assume you don't like a place, but you won't know until the rubber hits the road. You go, you check it out, you experience it. So this is my 2024 resolution of try new things, get out there. TLDR is I'm done trying new things. I'm going to stay inside for the next 12 months. Thank you very much. Sorry, the drinking, the tracking as I'm drinking liquid is tickles me pink every time. So my first time in Las Vegas. What did I expect? Let's start there. My expectation was a lot of lights. See behind me? Lights. I have some photos to share as we go through this. A lot of lights, some shows, lines waiting for restaurants was big on my list of things. A lot of restaurants of various price points and quality. I expected a lot of crowds, and I expected a lot of spectacle. I expected a lot of spectacle. And some of those things were met, some of the things were not met, and some were better, some for worse. So the first thing, he landed in Nevada. First time in Nevada. First time in Las Vegas. He landed at the airport. Right there, smack dab, middle of the airport terminal in Henry Reed Airport, something like that. Slot machines. Now, let's travel back in time. Let's travel back in time to the nascent year of 2009. 2009. I am moving, and as part of this move, I am driving across state lines, and it's a 2-day trip. I'm moving from one state to another for graduate school. On the way on that trip, the trip was me and my brand new to me car. It was a 20-year-old car, brand new to me car. My mother was coming with me so she could see her young fox boy off to his new stage of life. Halfway in the trip, we stopped at a casino resort that was just like a beacon of light in otherwise the desolate landscape to stay for the night. Because hey, look, let's go to the casino. Let's try the buffet. Let's try the slot machines. So that's my only other experience with casinos, and it was. The buffet is what I expected. The rooms were lovely. I made sure to get non-smoking. And this is where my first beef comes up with Las Vegas, with that casino resort. And this is a deep one. I will never forgive them. I will never forgive Las Vegas for this. Where are my slot machines? Where are my coins? All the slot machines, all the gambling. Oh, I should say gaming. I say gambling. All the gambling. It's all digital. It's all digital. You scan a little card and it's like a screen. You hit use a big button you push and like the screen changes and like that's it. I wanted like the one arm bandit. I wanted the lever arm to pull down. I wanted some spinning mechanisms. I wanted like some lights and bells. I wanted the sound of all those coins coming down the coin chute into a bucket. I want everyone else around me to know I just got some coins in my bucket. Put the coin in, pull that lever. That's the joy I was looking for. That's the gambling that would hook me in. Give me slightly more subdued pachinko machines. If I want digital gambling, I just go back to Genshin Impact and Honkai Star Rail. I have waifus to gamble on here, people. I don't need to your slightly janky, poorly designed character gambling on digitally. I can do it at my own time. I wanted the coins. So they don't have them. It was all digital. It was all digital and all a disappointment. Very sad. Suffice to say, I personally did not do any gambling on this trip. And on this topic, I'll skip ahead. One group in my party did do played some craps for their gambling choice, and they spent like $100. In the end, they made some money, which was kind of nice for them. But all the hotels we saw, at least on the strip, the minimum bet was like $25 or $15 to like get onto the table. It was like $5 per bet. And I was like, this is too rich for my blood. I want to gamble $5. Give me $5, let me gamble quarters. I want to like milk and eke out this gambling experience, very low stakes, get enough money to maybe afford like 100 Primo Gems. So gambling's off the table. It's out of too rich for my blood. Just too rich. Very, very disappointed. So probably one last. The other thing about the gambling machines, all those different, like Connect 4, Bejeweled, what have you. And this is probably one thing that isn't a disappointment, but was a mild surprise. A lot of the casinos in Las Vegas are themed, right? You have the Bellagio, it's all Italian themed. You have the Excalibur, which is all like Knights of Camelot themed. You have the Flamingo. You have all these different like casinos, but inside all of MGM Grand, beside all of them, all the machines are the same. Like I wanted to go in to the Excalibur and see like a bunch of medieval themed looking slot machines and gaming machines. No. All the same that I just saw in the last hotel. And it's like, come on. Give me some themed spectacle. I'm here for the unity of thematics. So no gambling. So my review, if you want to go to Las Vegas for gambling and you're not like already deep into it as like a high roller, skip it, move on. But I think these days, from what I can tell, Las Vegas is no longer like gambling's there, but it doesn't feel like the focus for many people. The focus seems to now be experiences. Now, I say that as if like, oh, I'm a connoisseur. The experiences seem to be, or focusing on experiences, food, drinking in public, smoking indoors, shows, that sort of thing seems to be more the kind of focus as Las Vegas kind of like, and it's something I appreciate about Las Vegas, like the constant state of reinvention. One of the towns I kind of partially grew up in because my grandmother lived there, we visit every summer, was located in the, how much was dox me? This shouldn't dox me at all. In the California Gold Country. So this is like, everything is styled and built in like the 1849 was when everything was built up. So there's a certain like American Western style in architecture and vibe that I kind of got a little bit in Las Vegas. That same kind of Western feel of constant reinvention, trying things new. There's definitely a different ethos there compared to other parts of the country I've been in. Around like you can come and you can make it big, or you can fail spectacularly. And sometimes you fail spectacularly. I didn't fail spectacularly. No. That would never happen. So that was my gambling context. Not all where I thought I'd start this, but here we are. So we get into the airport. We get a Lyft or an Uber, whatever. The same thing. I'm gonna call them Lyfts. Sorry, Uber. You're not. Neither of you are sponsoring me. If you do want to sponsor me, let me know. Foxboy derides sponsors. We get into our Lyft, And two things I noticed between the airport and the hotel. It's nighttime, by the way, is for visual context. Like the night behind me. Ta-da. One, the traffic's really bad. The traffic, whenever we tried to do anything with a vehicle, was bad. I hate traffic. I hate traffic. I'm trying to get somewhere. I hate traffic. I'm trying to be there on time. In a lift, I hate traffic. On a bus or waiting for buses, I hate traffic. It's just like Las Vegas. Las Vegas. You are primed. You are set. Build some off-grade light rail. Build it down the strip. Build it up the strip. Go to those far-flung centers like the Tropicana. Go up to the Arts District in downtown Las Vegas and Fremont Street Experience. Go up and down the strip. Be reliable. Be frequent. Be easy. Please. So we have traffic. And I was sitting up in the front with the Uber driver. I got the short stick on this one. And we're in traffic. And we see on the horizon, one of the people in my car was not from America. We see a monster truck. Not a demolition derby monster truck. No. This is I polish and kit this monster truck out with LEDs and stickers and bedazzle it and lift it. And it is pristine. And we are driving it down the strip proudly. And I thought, hey, look, a monster truck. We don't see that in the city very often. Isn't that kind of neat? And then we see another monster truck. I'm like, oh, 2 monster trucks. Maybe they're like friends meeting up. And there's a third one. Then a fourth. And they're driving. There's a 5th monster truck. Then a 6th monster truck. And the whole day, the whole night, the first night, up and down the strip, riddled with monster trucks. Different sizes, different colors, some with LED, some glow in the dark, some with sound systems, some full of people. Apparently there was some sort of car show convention that ended on Friday, and I was just driving their monster trucks around. And personally, I never want to own a monster truck. Not my vibe. Not my thought. No matter what anime wrap you put on that monster truck. Okay, there's a low chance I want to own a monster truck. The maintenance cost, the gas cost alone put me off. But the vibe of having a bunch of monster trucks going up and down the strip in traffic, driving very, very slowly up and down the strip, is a vibe. It's a vibe I'm there for Las Vegas. That one worked for me. I'll take it. So a lot of monster trucks. Kind of neat. That's the spectacle I'm here in Las Vegas. Give me the obscene spectacle, the lights, the glitz, the glamour. That's perhaps skin deep, perhaps deeper, but likely just plaster and skin deep. But hey, it's entertaining. The other bit of spectacle that we saw on the way in, and I saw throughout the trip, which I think I can have a little photo here. Bam. Oh, great. I'm in the way. Classic. Move me over here. So we can see it from our hotel room over here. I think it's dusk. The Las Vegas Sphere, I will say, I was a bit like, when I saw photos of it, I'm like, okay, it's fine. It's a thing. Actually having it like sitting on the horizon and illuminated with like the different displays on it, you know what? Las Vegas, that's kind of neat. I went from indifferent to, I'd say, I didn't go inside, to from the outside, I'd say Las Vegas Sphere fan. This is the sort of spectacle of technology and ingenuity that I would like to see more of in our Las Vegas. I like lights. I like art expression. I like very novel bits of architecture. Oh, I do love some good novel architecture. And this, my friends, is novel architecture. So, over here, Las Vegas Sphere, you know what? 9.5 out of 10. I'll give you 9.5 out of 10, Las Vegas Sphere. You had some cool features where you went kind of transparent. Not sure if you're transparent or just projecting from the other side. You're large. You had some cool patterns. You had some advertising type things. I don't think you ever had advertising things on you. You had a giant emoji. I think you had a Genshin Impact or pom-pom on you for Star Rail at some point. So you know what? Good for you. Good for you, Las Vegas Sphere. I approve of this one. This one was great. I didn't go inside. I'm sure inside is also fantastic. But from the outside at least, great. Good job, Sphere. Close that one off there. That's the sort of spectacle I want to see in sort of reinvention. Now, the other experiences we did, Did a couple other experiences, and I'll get into general travel, food, other things later. But first, I have a theory. I have a pet theory that's been growing for several trips now. I've thought about this deeply over the years. I consider evidence. I added to it. And I need a button for just like freeze model while drinking. So I was in Las Vegas. You're walking around. A lot of crowds. Las Vegas, it's on a 3-day weekend, on the streets at night, crowded. It's crowded. People are drinking. People are, ironically, not smoking that much outside. Mostly smoking inside those smoky casinos. Hell in my eyes. So people outside, they're drinking. They have these long, funny margarita drinks or getting snacks. There's people not much busking or panhandling. Some people trying to like do like breakdancing shows to get money. People handing out cards. So a lot of the elements on the street level were honestly not that different from Tokyo. Fundamentally, like, you know, like crowds of people walking around. Well, the drinking part, you can cut that out. Crowds of people walking around, lights everywhere, up and down different stairs from overpasses. Like functionally, it feels, the constituent parts are similar, but the vibe and the experience, so different. And I think it's because people in Las Vegas don't know how to move in crowds. They don't move in crowds. Things are, in some ways, purposely confusing on how to get places. It's because you keep getting routed through casinos. Suspicious. Signage, good sometimes, poor in other places. There was, to be fair, a lot of construction for F1. Upsetting. So people not used to moving in crowds. But besides that, everyone seems to be enjoying themselves and having fun. It could be everyone's going there on vacation to have fun. Solid theory. But why are they coming here to have fun? Why are they coming here to have fun? And this is where my theory comes in. My theory, simple at its core, people are happier in walkable environments. It's my hot take, controversial opinion. This is why some people reminisce deeply and think about how great it was in college or even high school, was because in these environments, your work, your play, your home, your friends, your restaurants, everything is within walking distance. You don't need a park. You don't need to drive. You don't need to commute. Maybe you have a bike. Maybe you can go to a bar. You can get trash. You can walk to your friend's house. You can walk to another bar. You can go to class. You can walk and say, hey, you can spontaneously meet up and walk somewhere else and not worry about like logistics or parking or anything like that. So college has this. European cities have this. Places with good enough transit are able to replicate this feel in a larger space. So Tokyo, for example. Switzerland had pretty good transit system. London's tube system. These places that make it so you can, on foot, without any need for vehicles or ride shares or even buses, get places are more enjoyable. And in America, we don't have many places like that. We don't have many places like that, do we? We don't. And Las Vegas is one of those places. So everyone's coming here for vacation, perhaps for the first time. Maybe they had not traveled much before. And this might be their first experience in a very walkable environment with entertainment and shows and experiences and restaurants and meeting up with friends, and your hotel's right there. And it's warm out and it's dry and there's like these fountains going off and there's all these lights everywhere. And you can just walk places. You can get utterly trashed at 5 p.m. and stumble through the day and feel great about it. Perhaps not the next morning, but during that process, feel great about it. And so I think that's one of the appeals of Las Vegas, is people who are coming from their typical American town, perhaps a suburb, where you commute every day and nothing is walkable, to all of a sudden, with friends perhaps, being dropped in this walkable environment, maybe even staying in the same hotel. Perhaps you're sharing a hotel suite. It's a lot of fun. That aspect is a lot of fun. And that's why walkable environments are fantastic and a big selling point of Las Vegas, in my mind. And this is definitely not my bias for enjoying walking around. No. Not in the slightest. This is my pet theory about why some of these like touchstone experiences in places everyone loves either living in the past or traveling to. I think the walkability and being able to walk places Big part of it. Big part of it. Completely unbiased opinion. I have no biases. However, that said, compared to Tokyo, people aren't great at navigating these crowds. It was touch and go. It was touch and go for a bit there. Or I think the other one is you look at the strip, Google Maps says, this place is just half a mile away. And you're like, oh, easy. I got so much time. And you don't realize you have to like wind through different casinos, over different sky bridges. You can't actually cross the strip itself. Upstairs around these crowds, through a shopping mall. And it's like that half mile of bird fly distance is like a mile and a half walk. Okay, maybe like a mile walk. And then you're like, oh, I'll take a ride share. And the ride shares was like, buddy, nah. We can only pick you up in like very like in the backs of hotels and parking lots. So you can't just like hop on a taxi like on the strip and go 2 blocks. There's a couple places, like the main part of the strip. No, you can't cross that street. There's pedestrian overpasses on a lot of it. You can cross the side streets. The side streets is fine. But the main strip, now I don't know. I don't know if this was due to the strips normally or due to F1 construction. Because what we find out in the potential cause of all this traffic was there is a big F1 race happening in Las Vegas at the end of November. Now, you may say, Sanish, a race on the strip seems a bit much, to which I say, it is. Interesting side note, I talked to someone on the Las Vegas F1 team to give a job reference for a coworker or past coworker. So I knew F1 was there. I didn't realize it was this race. I'm like, oh no, I could have been the one to blame for this. And you can see it in this photo. So this behind me, where's my mouse? All this stuff here, over my back here, is all construction for the race. What it is, it's a bunch of, effectively building a bunch of VIP, wrong tab. A bunch of VIP bleachers and lights and all the infrastructure for the race. But the race itself is like, someone told me it's like 2 a.m. It's gonna be like 2 a.m. late November because they have to broadcast it for Europe. And it's just like a lot for one race. It's like a month of construction for one race. And the worst part is, so this photo is taken at the Bellagio fountain. Yes, at the Bellagio fountain. Where all the construction was, they apparently ripped up a bunch of old growth palm trees. They just tore out this huge line of palm trees to build these bleachers. And it's just like, man, that's hella lame. That is hella lame F1 to pull out a bunch of palm trees to make some temporary bleachers. Temporary bleachers for like, and if anyone's a racing fan, I don't apologize. I don't get it. I don't get watching races in televised. Maybe in person though. It's like the cars just zoom by. They zoom by. Maybe a couple times. I'm not sure how long F1 races, but just like, not the palm trees. Not the palm trees. And it caused just like non-stop traffic on the strip. Though I'm not sure if that was caused by F1 construction because I didn't actually see much construction causing the traffic. It's just everyone being traffic-y in general. I don't want to say at least with NASCAR, but in this case, at least with NASCAR. Whew. So, a lot of traffic. A lot of frustrating traffic. I think we tried, we took like a Lyft in or an Uber, and we realized quickly on my second day, I'm like, this is going to get expensive. My hotel was at the north end of the strip by Circus Circus. So it's like a 2.5 mile walk to the core being like the Bellagio area, the core that we were in. I'm like, this is going to add up fast. What is there for public transit? And I found out I could get there's a bus that runs up and down the strip. For $20, you get a 3-day pass. Absolutely perfect. I thought to myself. Two things emerged. First bus trip, They're all double-decker buses. First bus trip in the morning, like 9 a.m. coming in for brunch, no problem. Smooth, clean, easy bus stop right in front of the hotel. Wonderful. Second bus coming home that day at the end of the day, rough. We waited like 15 minutes. The bus came by. The bus was full and just drove on by. Next bus wasn't coming for 18 minutes. Like, ugh. So a couple of them didn't pan out. We had to get Ubers. But overall, it was savings. But the bus line. It's called the Deuce. The bus line in Las Vegas is the Deuce. Why? Why Las Vegas? Of all the things to name, all the things to do, the Deuce? La Deuce? Gonna go quick, take the Deuce. No one wants to say that. Oh, okay, it's kind of 50-50 on wanting to say it, depending on the time of day. You know what? You know what, garlic baguette? I hope they know what they were doing. If they didn't know what they were doing, I'm going to be disappointed. Someone out there, like, they're gonna be like, oh, it's Deuce. It's like snake eyes on the dice. Yeah, that's what it is. That's what Deuce means. Ho ho ho. 2 aces and a hand of blackjack. Ho ho ho. No. They knew what they're doing. They knew what they were doing. To that person, I tip my hat. I tip my hat to you for sneaking that name through. If you trick somebody, if everyone was on board, I tip no hat. I tip no hat. That's no victory. It's the people who trick them into the dumb names. Those are the people I believe in. All right, so we had a couple. Let me see what I got. Let's see these photos here real quick. All right, this photo. Horizon. Oh, we went the photos. I'll take a short. We're gonna do a couple of photos. So I didn't bring my DSLR with me. My DSLR, mirrorless camera with me and lenses on this trip, which meant I didn't have to bring a camera bag, which meant my luggage was so light, so easy to pack. Because usually when I pack my travel backpack, I put my camera inside its camera bag, like a shoulder camera bag, and I put that camera bag inside my backpack. So it takes up like a third of my luggage is another bag. So not packing is like, oh, this is easy. So all these are gonna be cell phone photos, to which I say, I'm sorry. One thing I learned is I love travel photography. I don't love travel photography with other people. Sorry. Well, not sorry. I'm not sorry to other people. It's just something about the pressure of trying to like spend time to get the photo right with other people waiting for you. So here's a night photo. I'm just gonna lean. This is the Flamingo, which is kind of down the street. I will say a lot of the hotels, like these hotels, now rely on these big LED billboards and signs. I appreciate the Flamingo for having actual like neon lights that are getting lit up and moving. I do like some good neon lights, or argon. I'll take an argon light. Illuminate those lights for me, Flamingo. Good job, Flamingo. We didn't go into you. We spent no money there, but I liked your light display. I liked your light display. Then from night from my hotel, this is my hotel room. Oh, I think I would feel self-conscious taking my time to get the photo. And that self-consciousness would, for me, negate the enjoyment I got out of the photography process. So I just didn't bring it. I'm like, meh. Plus, iPhone photo cameras these days are good enough, which is one of the ways I justified spending money on a camera. So this is the view from my hotel room. You can see, where's my mouse? Gotta capture my mouse over here. Right here is the edge of the sphere. You can see it from the other hotel room in the suite I was in. But pretty decent view I feel for hotel room. I think this led into this strip right here, down here. Oh, my mouse is not screen anymore. But nice hotel room, nice view. In the morning, this is what Las Vegas looks like. I gotta say, Las Vegas. I know my color palette at the moment apparently does match. You are in a desert. My good friends of Las Vegas, you are a desert. You're a desert with a desert sky and mountainous terrain around you and you're flat. And I'll say it, you look better at night. There we go. Throwing it out there. Las Vegas at night, really, really good vibe. Las Vegas during the day, not the same feeling. Not the same feeling at all. And this goes into another topic for Las Vegas. And this is where I'm going to judge Las Vegas. Judge Las Vegas harshly. Las Vegas, your tap water is absolute trash. 2 of 10 tap water. It's like Nouvelette here, judging your tap water. 2 of 10 would not tap water again. Just not good. Just blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, this tap water tastes terrible. And then I made coffee in the hotel. I'm like, why does the coffee taste so bad? I'm like, I use the tap water. It's that desert well water or minerals or something, man. It doesn't help that I was there eating food, walking around, maybe drinking a little bit, needing to hydrate, dry desert air. And we're just like, I have to drink this gross ass tap water. Where's my tap water now? Great. It reminded me a lot of my undergrad college campus in Southern California. Was on the coast. And parts of California, decent to good to great tap water. Southern California coastal regions, just like Las Vegas, gross. It's the only time I've fastidiously used a Brita filter. Not for toxins or bad things, but just to fix the taste. 2 of 10 Las Vegas on your tap water. Just So if you go there, highly recommend. Get bottled water. We unfortunately found out the very last day that our hotel offered 2 free bottles of water to every guest if you went down to the little mini mart. I'm just like, I could have had better hydration. Instead I hydrated with coffee. That's the way to go. The only way to go. It did feel a bit like a scam. And you're in a casino at a cocktail bar, oh, can I get some water? They're like, we only have a bottle of Fuji water for $7. And you're just like, then you pay for it because you have no choice. They should have put it in the rooms. You're right. They should have put it in the rooms. And they should have put it in front of the door every morning. Scam. Just an absolute scam. Let's see. I'll make sure. Check out my list here. Topics I want to talk about. Oh, the smoke. We spent time in one hotel. Bellagio, I want to say. Whatever has the O Theater. We spent some time in walking around. So people did some walking around, exploring it. We went to everyone in this group was had energy flagging, running out of steam. And one thing a couple of us learned about in a previous trip together, was the perfect thing to do when a group energy starts dropping around 2 p.m., 3 p.m., and you're traveling, you're no one's driving, and you're staying in a hotel. Espresso martinis. Espresso martinis, a recent discovery in my life, and something that I am now a big fan of. It gets you the I'm on vacation martini aspect. It gets you the pick me up from the caffeine aspect. Is this just a gussied up, fancy, bougie, high class version of a Four Loko? Perhaps. So we went to a cocktail bar, not cocktail bar, it's just kind of like a lounge in the middle of the casino floor with comfy chairs. The comfy chairs being critical. And we got espresso martinis, like 4 of them. Only actually only three of them because three people didn't have any. And it was a smoking hotel, a smoking casino, and you could smell it. You could smell it, and you could feel it a little bit just by being in there. And so that day, that was the first day there. We did a lot of stuff inside casinos that were smoking inadvertently, and it's not like people were like chimney smoking, but like a table next to us, someone was smoking. Someone had a cigar nearby. Some people at the slot machines you could see were smoking, and you could just feel it in your eyes. You could feel it in your eyes, and then I am very like sensitive to smoke. So just like the next morning, I just woke up, and I get headaches often. I'm a connoisseur of headaches, and usually the way mine manifest are like kind of like the behind, like upper behind like a left eye, or like just a general pain top of the head. This was just like across my brow, behind both eyes, just hurt. And I was like, what is this? This is a new type of headache. What's happening? Like, this isn't what a hangover headache feels like. This isn't what a dehydration headache or stress headache feels like. And I realized it was just the smoke. It was just spending all day in this smoke. I'm just feeling it now. Behind the eyes, I'm just like, oh, it was rough. Now, on the plus side, Park MGM, smoke-free. Park MGM is a smoke-free hotel and casino with food inside and restaurants, and highly recommend that one solely for that aspect of it, because otherwise, man, smoke gets you. It gets you, and it's rough. Yeah, I remember as a kid, we were somewhere, maybe like an Alaska cruise, and there was like a smoking room, or you could smoke on board or something. I just remember as a kid just feeling ill after 20 minutes, 30 minutes in a smoke environment. Don't like it. I'm a sensitive little fox. The fox in the coal mine. Outside? I didn't notice much smoke or people smoking outside as much, to be honest. It could be because it was outdoors, so it was easier to a couple people smoking wasn't a big thing. There wasn't any atmospheric smoke at the time, though I think I checked the AQI at the time was 67, which isn't great, isn't good, but ash wasn't falling from the sky, so can't be that bad. So yes, the smoke, something else. Not a huge fan, not a big fan of all the old smoke. So, other things we did. I know I had a couple people in the group did some they drove some race cars around some track at high speed, some Porsches and Ferraris or something, and they greatly enjoyed that. They also there was you can do other experiences. I saw an ad for this where you can just drive a monster truck and crush a smaller car. Not all the way. It's crush it just a little bit. So you get the multiple crushings. Some people went to a gun range and shot an automatic rifle of some type, a sniper rifle, and some handguns. So you always kind of I don't know, quintessential be a typical American for a day type experiences that are kind of goofy. They're fun. They're out of my I figured the enjoyment I would get out of them didn't match the price, so I'm I will step aside on these ones. But it's that's sort of you can drive a monster truck. Not the ones we saw driving up and down the strip, but the classic the giant wheels going up and down over things, over other smaller cars. Yeah, they have all those experiences there available for those who wish to crush a smaller car with a bigger car. Who, to be fair, who hasn't wanted to crush a smaller car with a bigger car? Those without car crushing desires not cast the first stone. You know what? The vibe I got, and the vibe I hold, is that there's no laws in Nevada. That's the vibe I'm taking away here. Is don't assume any licenses or regulations, or that there's laws or rules made by the state. I see Las Vegas as a land of the free, where all you need to do is follow the laws of your corporate casino overlords, and you will be happy and wealthy and well, you'll be happy and well off. So yes, I don't think there's much in the way of regulations around those sorts of things. I think other places in the country, in the world, you might probably need some sort of license, like a different type of class of license for it, but maybe not. They might be legitimately classified as trucks, like regular street trucks that just happen to have monster-sized tires, and you happen to be driving over smaller cars. So some people did that. We did a VR experience. So we did a 6-person full body tracked VR experience, which was interesting. I've only done VR once before in my life, and that was I did an interview with VR Chat of all places. And for that interview for VR Chat, I borrowed a friend's Oculus headset, and I did the interview in VR, which was a bit wild at the time, especially since I picked a cat girl avatar to interview for a professional job. Greatly enjoyed it. Headsets and me didn't get along so great. So going to the VR experience, they walk you through it. You get like motion trackers or like those mocap style trackers on your wrists, ankles. You're wearing a vest with mocap trackers on it, and you have the little VR headset, and you're given like so we did a fantasy one. So we had like a knight class who had an axe. We had an archer class who had a crossbow, and they had I was the sword mage class who had a sword. So the VR headset just barely fit over my glasses, but it wasn't a very comfortable fit. Some of us forgot to bring our contacts. And so like some people had like I had like a little lightsaber Wiimote type prop. People with crossbow had like a rifle type prop. But as we're setting up, so this place offered different VR experiences, and one of them was like ours was like a fantasy setting that reminded me a bit like Fable in feel. And then like 3 zombie experiences, a sci-fi one. But there was like 5 guys in the booth next to us, maybe 2 booths down, as we're like all prepping in, who were doing one of the zombie ones, and they were just screaming. They were just like top of their lungs, like, bro, they're on me. And you hear like this rapid like clicking sound of like didn't know that flashed that. A rapid clicking sound is like they're firing their little rifle. Babel? Oh, not Babel. Fable. The game Fable. In terms of the art direction style of the fantasy one is very Fable-like. At least one of the more recent Fable games I play tested and then got canceled. Haha. So they were having like the time, and like having played first-person shooters with friends online, I can imagine that scenario of just like there's zombies on you, you're firing, you just need to yell for support, you don't need what's going on. So we went to ours, the fantasy one, and it was pretty fun. I know some other people in the group had a lot more fun. Some people had technical issues with like the tracking got lost, or they froze, or like they were lagging, and you're kind of like standing in a room, and there's like a little like outline of where you shouldn't step out of, and you can move around. Like you put your hand on someone's shoulder to revive them, and you swing your sword at the guys coming at you, or you fire your little magic spell, and like the sword kind of tracks, and you can kind of like parry, but it doesn't quite like the collisions and hitboxes on it were just like okay. It felt like, because you go to arcade later, if you've ever done any like arcade type stuff, the slight jankiness in arcade games, it kind of felt like that. Like it didn't have the like the crisp feel of weapon and gunplay and combat you get in modern video games. It all felt kind of delayed and kind of janky, and like it didn't quite have the heft or feel that you want it to have, at least for like the weapon combos I had. It was also like, It wasn't quite a light gun game, but it's similar kind of like, because like you swing the sword, like the monster, like the goblin, whatever's in front of you, you have the sword in your hand, and you can see that in VR that you have a sword in your hand, and you like the sword tracks pretty well to your hand, but like when it hits the enemy, of course your hand doesn't actually stop, and your hand passes through. So the game has kind of to resolve that sort of collision, and like you try to parry the incoming, like block the incoming weapons, and it doesn't quite like. Not there yet. Not there yet, technology. Getting there. Getting there. I did like they had like breezes, like wind at some point. And I saw afterwards when I took the VR headset off that they just had like essentially like 8 box fans on the wall hooked up to a timer. Like, dude, you got to do. But it got sweaty, especially like in the mask itself. A lot of moving around because you're like swinging a sword, like you're flinging your arm in like almost like a punch motion to launch spells. So it's melee combat. Maybe the gunplay ones are a bit better and track a little better, but I'm not sure how aiming would work in that situation. So, but it was an experience. They had a bunch of them. I know they exist everywhere. I think there's like the exact chain is like 3 miles from my house, so it's like not necessarily like Vegas specific. However, it's definitely in the like, you're there with a group of friends. What can you do with a group of people? It's a kind of like a novel experience. And in that way, Vegas seems much more open and receptive to that sort of plans and ideas and experiences. It's because you're there for experiences, and everyone who you want to go with is already there. So you don't have to like scheduling is so much easier to be like, oh, we're doing it at 6 o'clock. We're doing the VR experience. Great. We booked it. Here's the tickets. That part of it is so much easier. So much easier in Las Vegas than trying to do it like, oh, I have jobs, or I have this other priority, or this time doesn't work for me. Blah, 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 blah. The vagaries of scheduling adult life. So that's one thing. We went out of the strip area. We went to the downtown Las Vegas, which is separate. The strip is not downtown Las Vegas. Lesson learned. The strip north of the strip is the downtown area, Fremont Street experience, which we didn't get to. Which, in retrospect, I didn't realize this, but the Fremont Street experience is the basis for the Las Vegas 2032 map in the finals. And I was like 2 blocks away and I didn't go. It's okay. It's a shitty map anyway. Come at me, bro. My hot take in the finals right there. So we went to a place called Container Park, which is kind of like this little cul-de-sac park built of shipping containers. We went there to like a whiskey bar overlooking a park, which had some nice cocktails, slow service, nice cocktails. But while we were there in the park, there was some live music playing. And like we got there and we're like listening, or like, this live music's not great. It's not the best live music, and it's loud. We were thinking to ourselves out loud collectively, or I was thinking out loud collectively to myself. And I'm like, is this where we're gonna hang out for a bit with this live music? And then someone noticed a very key detail. The drum set said School of Rock on it. This was for a bunch of teenagers doing after-school music lessons at an actual School of Rock franchise, performing in public, maybe for the first time, maybe for their end of class final or whatever. And like that perspective shift on like, this is just a bunch of kids trying their best. Huge difference. The different teenagers came out in different groups, different compositions, played some covers, played maybe some original music. And that shift of like, it's just some kids, man. It's just some kids playing in front of an audience. There's like their parents on the lawn chairs. There's us as adults cheering them on, making up backstories to these different kids. We gave up some favorites, named them. It was that mind shift helped a bunch. It made it a lot more enjoyable. Instead of just like, there's a shitty band playing for 2 hours. It's like, no, these are like kids. I think to perform in a park, in a public place, like that's kind of cool, right? It's a rock music recital is what it really turned out to be. So you know what? Las Vegas. Good few container park. That was pretty neat. And then as we were leaving the container park, there's a art installation out front that is a giant metallic praying mantis. And this praying mantis moves. And every half hour or so, this praying mantis moves to some different music and starts shooting jets of flame everywhere and just absolutely going to town, going up and down. To our case, our timing as we were leaving this park is when this kicked off. As we were leaving, this mantis was blasting flames into the air to a metal version of Baby Shark, which I felt was the right vibe. This is, again, the right spectacle, the right level of what is happening that I want from my bizarre Las Vegas experience. And the metal cover Baby Shark, you know what? Not bad metal cover. Because the praying mantis is, let's say the state insect of Nevada. I don't know what the state insect of Nevada is. You don't know what the state insect of Nevada is. It's the praying mantis. I'm saying that here, spread that misinformation to your friends. It's just praying mantis. Because they're cool. Art, man. Because it's cool. So we went from here. We went to a dive bar nearby called like Atomic something. Which, look, I love dive bars. I love the gestalt. I love the slight dinginess. I love the stickers everywhere, things carved into the tables, your cheap pictures of beer. This place felt like someone tried to curate a dive bar experience. And how I know, two facets kicked in here. 3 factors. 1, none of the long sofa seats had any rips or tears or patches in them. 2, they didn't serve pitchers of beer, only pints. And 3, the bathrooms were very clean and well taken care of. Not a dive bar. Not a dive bar. I did not feel dirty leaving that place. There was no peanut shells on the floor. The service was actually service was good. No one was surly. Decent as a bar. Not a dive bar though. So sad. And then we went up to the pretty much. I want my dive bars divey. If I can't throw peanut shells on the floor, and that's what they expect you to do, are you even dive barring? We went to the Neon Museum just north of there. That was okay. I'm going to rate it as it was okay. I think the neon light aspect was pretty nice. There was like a show where they did some projector light ups of old displays, which is pretty cool how they got it to work. So, it was pretty decent. Got a very brief history lesson of Las Vegas and the Las Vegas sign, and the symbolism therein. So it was decent. Maybe I was just cold. I think I was just cold, and that was really drawing me down. I was hopping in place to warm up. I'm like, why am I cold? It's like only like 58 degrees, and I'm like, self. I go out running in running shorts and a t-shirt when it's 43 degrees out, and I'm fine. Why am I cold standing still at 58 degrees? And I'm like, because I'm standing still. I should be running in place, light jog in place. But the real win of that Neon Museum, we had to take a lift like half a mile because we were running late. But on the way in, I spied out of the corner of my eye a garish-looking taco stand set in the parking lot of a used tire store. And I was like, this is it. This is the beacon that calls us forth. And I convinced everyone after this Neon Museum to walk to me to this slightly sketchy-looking taco stand in a tire shop. And 10 out of 10 tacos. Those tacos eaten on that janky plywood counter bolted to a structure. 10 out of 10. It was calling. It was waiting. They only took cash. I'm not sure that anyone spoke English. It was perfect. Just absolutely perfect. It's exactly what I wanted. What I miss from where I live. I got 2 carnitas, 2 chorizo tacos, 1 veggie taco. It's just like, here's some 2 tortillas. The chorizo in the tortilla, nothing else, some salsa on the side, a bag of chopped onions, cilantro in it. Perfect. Just perfect. And you say, wait a second, Sanish, wait a second. I remember some key details. You said in your debut months ago that you're vegetarian, but you just said chorizo. Curious. To which I say, defense myself, I'm vegetarian for everything but chorizo. I can't. It's the one thing that calls to me. That just calls to me whenever I see an option. I had a chorizo breakfast burrito. I had another chorizo burrito somewhere else. I had those chorizo tacos. It's my weakness. It's my sin. I won't give it up. I can't give it up. Calls to my blood. The chorizo calls. So that food is great. And this is a great segue into the food. So one thing Vegas has a lot of restaurants. And some of them are okay. Okay, there wasn't any bad food. Okay? No bad food. All the food was, however, expensive. Essentially everything was like $3 to $4 more than I kind of would like be my upper limit normally. And even then it's like a bit more expensive for what it was. You're just like, was this cocktail worth $20? And you're like, maybe not. But you're in Las Vegas. Everyone else costs the same. It's part of the experience. So you kind of lean into it. You're like, this is travel. A little expensive is fine. So a lot of the food was just okay. It wasn't like, I'm not going to write home about it. I'm not going to talk about it here. Only two things. I'd say two food items stood out to me. One, those tacos. 10 out of 10 tacos. With taco again. And even on the Uber Lyft, the Lyft ride back from that place, we told the driver where we went. He's like, those are the best tacos in the city. You picked the right place. And I was like, nailed it. I nailed it. You can look at a taco place from a distance and you can just see it in your heart of hearts. Like, this is the one. This is the taco place. They had 2 stray cats who live there. Oh, perfect. The other place, and we made reservations like apparently 6 months in advance, sitting at the reservation page when it came open to snipe the reservation, was a restaurant in the, I want to say MGM Grand, called Best Friends. Best Friends is a Roy Choi LA street food Korean restaurant with some Las Vegas dishes inspired as well. But it was, next to tacos, definitely the best food I've had in that trip, and probably some of the best food I had in the last stretch of time. And it's like, it was like a family. I don't have any pictures. I don't take many food pictures unless I'm cooking. I'm so sorry. It's like a family style, and we ordered like kimchi fried rice and like some grilled vegetables and some like like roasted elote street corn dish, and some other people had some short ribs. They had like some buttered, salted Hawaiian sweet rolls that were just like, by far one of the most delicious things I've put in my mouth. And that kimchi fried rice, it was just, it's a type of fried rice. And if you know what the type is, you know how great it is. Where it's like it's cooked in like a stone bowl or in some vessel, like a cast iron vessel. So the rice on the edge gets all just a little bit crispy, you know, like a little bit of that crispy rice on the edge. It's so good. Very rarely do I eat a dish in a restaurant and I'm like, I need to write down how to make this because I want to experience this again in my safety of my own home and not in Las Vegas. So those were absolutely, it's like that kimchi fried rice and those sweet rolls. Delightful. Just delightful. And there was another vegetarian at the table, so we had a lot of vegetarian dishes, which is always great. But that was definitely like some of the best food. They had another one. It was like eggplant. What's the word for it? Eggplant cutlet. So like it was like eggplant. I think it tastes like Chinese eggplant, mashed up into like cutlet shape and then like deep fried. Like a mustard sauce and some greens next to it. Delicious. Good job. Good job, best friends. That was some wonderful food. I'm going to try to eventually at some point make that kimchi fried rice. I think I have to buy a specialty like stone thingy to do it, or like cast iron thingy. I'm not a huge fan of buying single purpose kitchen devices, but this is an exception I might make. I also need to find a good source of kimchi. Last thing I'll say on the food front. We had a lot of cocktails. And the advice I got from my parents who have been to Las Vegas a bunch, conventions, fun, etc. Their advice, and I will pass this advice on to everybody here. Don't buy beer and wine in Las Vegas. The markup on beer and wine makes it almost never worth it. Instead, the money value for the quality, the novelty, the experience are in the cocktails. So if you're gonna get drinks in Las Vegas, get the cocktails. Unless your goal is to get like as trashed as fast as possible, then they have these like, mega gulp size margaritas you can carry around with you. Not about that. Give me those fancy, delicious cocktails. And there's one cocktail bar in the Bellagio? Caesars. It was called like Vanderpump Garden Cocktail Bar. I think that's what it was. Vanderpump sounds familiar. That made I got like a raspberry cocktail that was just like the best cocktail I had on that trip. Just absolutely. It tasted like fresh strawberries on a hot summer day in a drink. Something about the potent raspberry flavor, the texture of the blended ice in the drink, something about they nailed the finish. I'm not sure what it was, but it just it tasted like summer in a cocktail. And it was just absolutely 10 out of 10. Would go back to that place again for the cocktails. Food is okay. I'd go back for the cocktails. So that's my quick Spanish food review with some other places. One was like Pink Box, which was like a donut chain, and we stopped by and got some of the donuts. They were fancy bougie donuts. Got some. Went to a breakfast place. That was good. I know some people went to a fancy all-you-can-eat seafood buffet, but I don't like seafood, so I didn't join people on that particular journey. But otherwise, the food's just okay. And that it could be this could be that with some exceptions, I'm not super food motivated as an individual. So food has in generally speaking, a pretty narrow range of the amount of joy it can instill in me as a person. With some exceptions. When something knocks it out of the park, I'm just like, this is it. I've peaked. I'll never have better Hawaiian rolls than this again. But generally speaking, when it comes, especially savory foods, I'm just kind of like, oh, that's fine. That's nice. That was a breakfast sandwich. I'm not going to be like, oh my God, this is it. I found it. The one. I have succulent, endless joy coming from this dish. It's like, no, that's not me. Cocktails, though. I did enjoy his cocktails. And we definitely did make some poor choices vis-a-vis how much food we ate during the day versus how much we were drinking, at what time we were drinking. And there was definitely a couple moments there where I was probably should have had more to eat than I did. And probably had one drink too many than I should have. Tee-hee. That's part of the Vegas experience as an adult. It's like I can be responsible. It was never enough to get never got hungover though, so that was nice. What a relief. Oh, we did have one where we went to walked to a coffee shop 10 minutes away from our hotel because they had pastries. We got pastries and we got coffee, and it was attached to a small convention center, size of a couple tennis courts, and there's just some gun convention happening, and I'm just guns. Oh, please check the guns you're carrying here before entering the show. It's not the safest pumpkin muffin of my life. Or maybe it was the safest pumpkin muffin of my life. I don't know. So food. If you like good food, I think Las Vegas apparently has a lot of options, but The one vibe I got from everybody was you have to make reservations months in advance to get the good food. Otherwise, the stuff without reservations is like just okay food, but at the same price as the really good food. Like that, the best friends cost was like with a $20 cocktail, like $40 a person. Otherwise, it's like $20 for the food per person to share it. It's like this is like actually reasonably priced, but high quality and really good. Otherwise, you're going to like Olive Garden or Denny's or like some random buffet. It's like, ooh, ugh. Not great. Not great. All right, let's see if I have any other photos left. I think I do. I think I just have one. Nope. Ha. This is actually probably my favorite one. Now that I went through it here with everybody. I feel like this caught the vibe a little bit more of the night, what it felt like walking around. This is probably like 11 p.m. at night. We went to see Cirque du Soleil Ka as a show, and this was leaving there heading towards the Deuce, which, by the way, you can see. Where's my mouse capture? Right here is the Deuce, and I think we took this photo and then like pretty much promptly ran at this point to catch the bus to go back to our hotel. But I like the color vibe of the pink through the sky, and just the crowds of people. Well, you know, I kind of like this one. I'll leave this one up. I'll leave this one up. This is the sort of lights with like the signs, the big signs going up and down that remind me of parts of Tokyo, like Akihabara, Shibuya, kind of like that those tall lit up signs, and like during the night, which is fun. It's just fun. I like bright lights. I'll admit, I'm a simple fox boy. I like me some bright lights. Okay. All right. I think that's most of the super Vegas specific travel stuff. If I can think of anything else. Oh, everything else is about the trip from just a generic travel point of view and not necessarily specific to Vegas. But I'm a self-proclaimed introvert. I think I'm an introvert. I'm like 100% confident I'm an introvert. However, some people on this trip were casting aspersions and doubt upon this claim. And the reason they were casting doubt upon this claim, because I was the one often, almost always, in the front seat with the Lyft driver. And apparently I was chatting with some of the Lyft drivers, and that was causing seeds of doubt in the people's minds that I was in fact an introvert. To which I say, one, being an introvert has nothing to do with being shy or not friendly. It has to be doing with where one derives their energy. And for me, being social drains that energy and doesn't restore it, hence introvert. Doesn't mean I'm shy, which I am shy in some situations. Doesn't mean in this case, I do have social anxiety, but only some situations. But I was apparently being very chatty with some of the drivers. People were like, you're not an introvert. You're not an introvert at all. I'm like, no, I am. I'm just talking to this one driver. I think it came down to some drivers I could connect with and talk with just easily. I talked to one who was from Hawaii via California. Was there from Hawaii via California. And I'm like, oh, I could talk to him. I was just in Hawaii. He was just visiting Maui. And I was like, oh, I was just there, and like easy to talk about. Other drivers though, it's just like silence. So it depends on the driver, depends on the person. I'm either going to be very chatty or very quiet. Not really much in between. And of course, I can't deny the being very chatty allegations. Sitting here was a just chatting stream. And streaming. Hey, look, we learn things about ourselves as we age. And some of us may at times be yappers. And that's okay. That's okay. So with the right people in the right place in the right format, with the right amount of caffeine and or alcohol, some of us become yappers. And we have to accept that about ourselves. And hopefully other people accept that about me as well, because otherwise, tough. Now, don't need to talk about that. My flight outward was fairly unpleasant. I only dive into it. It wasn't great, but it was short, and I recovered quickly. I hope to be cheerful and good-natured and good-humored for the trip. I didn't let it drag me down like a wet blanket leaning over into my side of my seat. However, by the end of the trip, I always hit this point in trips where I'm just like, I'm done. I'm ready to go home. And I feel like this trip was maybe one day beyond where I wanted to be. I think if I returned on Monday instead of Tuesday, it would have been just right. Returning on Tuesday, I feel like that last day, I was kind of dragging and like, I'm ready to just go home, rest, be quiet, go to a nice quiet place, be safe at home, play some games. So, day comes to go, Tuesday morning. Our flight's at like 3. I'm anxious about flights generally. Someone else was anxious about flights. We went out, we got lunch, we got donuts. We're returning to our hotel with like some time to spare. We're fine. We'll get to the airport on time. We walk inside, go to the lobby. We go to the elevator bank. We're on the 30th floor. We go to the elevator bank. I push the elevator up button. The minute I push that button, alarms start to sound. The thick doors in the elevator bank slam shut on us, and the fire alarm's going off. And we're like, we were just going to go up to our rooms to grab our bags and go to the airport because we're anxious about this. I'm the anxious of like, let's go extra early. And people with me are like, no, we fine. We just leave at a normal time. I'm like, okay. And then this happens. It's just like, no idea how long it's going to last. Do we climb 30 floors up and down to get our bags? I didn't really want to do that. I didn't want to miss my flight. So we're standing there just like in a state of just like dismay for like 5 minutes, and then finishes, it resolves, and we can get in our bags. But that moment of like, when you push a button and an alarm goes off, there's a deep, deep panic that sets into like, did I just fundamentally do something I shouldn't have done? And it's a risk for me because like if I see a button, I want to push it. And like, this was a case where like, did I break the elevators? I didn't, and it was fine. But it's just like, and the weird thing was, so we left on Tuesday. Tuesday is apparently the slowest day in Las Vegas. And I got that vibe based on all of the construction projects kicked off on Tuesday. Like our hotel had like 3 construction projects that started Tuesday. And so it's like, it was a funny moment, like it's construction going on, setting up fire alarms, people are leaving. It was the middle of the day. It's just a very different vibe. Las Vegas during the day on a Tuesday than Las Vegas on a Saturday night. It's the same most places, but the juxtaposition was pretty great. However, all this said, I think an important lesson I learned for myself. Oh, I think the fire alarm was set up with, my guess is construction. Construction always sets off fire alarms from all the like dust and particulates it kicks up, gets into the smoke detectors. The smoke detector little radium sensor gets blocked by the particulates, fire alarm goes off. So it wasn't real fire. You just do the construction. My guess. You can always blame construction. I do. But I'm ready. I realized in this trip, there are parts of travel I enjoy, and there are parts of travel I don't care for. And I've realized I don't care for the flight and flying experience. Getting to and from airports, well, TSA with pre-checks a little better, but getting to the gate, waiting at the gate, the boarding process, getting to the plane, will I carry on fit, who's going to be sitting next to me, how long's the flight, getting like dry and dehydrated, potential illness from the flight itself, getting there, navigating out, taking an Uber Lyft out of the airport to wherever you're going. Like that whole experience, I just don't like it. I just don't like it. I'm not going to try to gaslight myself and be like, oh, travel's fun. You got time to yourself on the flight. It's great. It's like, no, it's not fun. It's not good. It's miserable. Maybe not miserable. It's just a big downer. It's an energy drain. It costs a lot of money. I'm just like, I'm done traveling for a while. I think as of this moment, I'm going to not fly home for Christmas. I haven't told my parents yet. That's on my, I've bumped out on my to-dos for 3 days now. I need to tell my parents I'm not coming down for Christmas. I'm going to stay where I am. And you know what? Maybe I won't get on a plane and I won't fly anywhere until the next time I travel and go to Japan, which might be like next November. So a good 12-month break. I think 2 back-to-back plane trips really solidified for me. I'm good. I like being home. I have made such a lovely home for myself that like whenever I'm away from it, I'm like, this isn't the home I built. This isn't my life. These aren't my routines and hobbies that I enjoy. I can't stream here. This isn't my coffee machine. Essentially, I've become a curmudgeon in my old age. That's really what it comes down to. I was young. I was flexible. I could do things. Now I'm just like, This isn't my drip coffee machine. Oh, where's my pumpkin spice syrups? This isn't my couch or my computer. Unacceptable. I have to type on this travel keyboard and not my fancy mechanical keyboard. So I'll be done traveling for a while. I think I should travel domestically. And by domestically, I mean within my state. Because there's like a bunch of cool places nearby I haven't gone to. Or I think more likely, I'm going to con people into joining me at places nearby that I like going, but I don't want to go by myself. Like national parks that have some great lodges. I might try to con people to going to a forested national park in the depth of winter to hang out like in a lodge, like a big great room with a roaring fire and everything. That's my next trick. And by trick, I mean I'll just like suggest it and everyone's going to want to show up and go. I think, and this is something that's really hard, really challenging for me to accept about myself. I think I found a community in which I might be popular. People might like me. Doesn't sound right. Probably all coincidence. God. I have to tell myself it's a coincidence. Otherwise, man, there's some facets about yourself that I feel like the feelings and vibes from high school are too strong to accept facts like that. You're like, no. That is literally impossible. People like me? Socially? That doesn't sound right. That doesn't sound right in the slightest. Man. But sometimes you have to accept facts about yourself. Wine. So let's see. I got a couple more bonus topics to maybe talk about. How are we feeling about bonus topics? Pretty good. I'm gonna take a short 1-minute break to get a refill here, and I'll be right back. I'm just gonna look into the camera with dead eyes for 30 seconds. Dead eyes over. I have a get my headphones on. I have this weird feeling like I can't, like, you can't hear me on my microphone if my headphones aren't on, which is not true at all. I do have this like VR back screen. So I have that screen and I don't use it. I was about to press it. I'm like, wait a second. That has by default a different audio track on. So it'd be 2 competing audio tracks, and by the time I like fiddle with it, I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna go slack and dead face for 30 seconds, and I'm just gonna have to deal with that. So, bonus topic page. I made it like 2 note pages of things I want to talk about to organize different thoughts. So I've done a bunch of solo traveling recently. I've done now 1 group trip to a nearby city by car. Traveled with my parents in Hawaii, and now this group trip with friends. Which is interesting, by the way, because like these are also relatively new friends. Like I think about a year and a half, 2 years. What is time? Jesus Christ, what is time? Let me check out what is time. Oh shit, 2 years. Well. Maybe a year and a half for people in this group, but they're relatively new friends in that regard. And it's interesting to be traveling with them more. You learn about people, you learn new experiences, how other people live their life, what things they talk about, that sort of thing. But I will say, traveling with friends is fun. I said it. Traveling solo is fun. Traveling with friends, also fun. Traveling with family can be fun in certain ways, but maybe we need to adjust some of our boundaries and how we approach that in some cases. Not naming names. It could be me. Perhaps I don't need to share a condo or hotel with my parents ever again. And that's okay. That's an okay boundary to establish moving forward. But traveling with friends, sharing a hotel room with friends, great. One of the nights we were in a bit early, but we weren't quite done. And so our living room of our suite had a pull-out bed. We pulled the bed out. It was 3 of us. We sat side by side in that pull-out bed and we watched Con Air because none of us had seen Con Air before. And someone in the group is one of their favorite American 90s movies. And so we watched Con Air, and that was surprisingly fun and not something you can really do as an adult, is watch movies late into the night together and then just like shuffle off to your own beds. Adults don't really have sleepovers anymore. It's a real shame. Separate topic, real shame. Sleepovers as kids were tons of fun. You stay up late, you sleep over, you get like junky takeout food, maybe you have a LAN party, maybe you play Super Smash Bros. Or watch movies. Bring back slumber parties. 2025 goal. Granted, you could say Sanchez because millennials can't afford houses with enough spare bedrooms, enough space to host a slumber party, to which I say, way to be a downer, man. Way to be a total downer. So traveling with friends is fun. And for a couple reasons. One, a pre-built group of people to do things with, a big plus. But the other part, which I didn't think about, is you can distribute event planning. Like, you as a solo traveler have to come up with everything you do yourself. And you have to always be on in like event planning, scheduling sort of way. But when you're traveling with a group of people, you can distribute it. Like if you have 6 people, every day everyone comes with one idea of something to do or a place to eat or a thing to go see. That's a full day every day, and you only have to contribute one idea. Pretty good. Let's parallelize this trip planning. And then, well, this works in 2 cases. Okay, I started that sentence without having more than one case, so give me a second. I committed to 2 cases. I'll come up with 2 cases. This is where I start talking in my public speaking rhetoric formats start creeping in without me having any substance behind them. 2 cases. 1, you're a group who are tight-knit. You're a tight-knit group of friends and you want to do everything together. Absolutely everything. You all love it. Rare, but doable. The second case is you're a group of people, you're mature adults, and you accept that not everyone's going to do everything together. And so you can be like, hey, I'm going to bow out of the seafood buffet and just not go. I don't have anything else I'm doing. I just don't want to go to that. Or like, hey, I want to go to the shooting range and only 2 people or 3 people want to go do that. So they go off and do that. Maybe 3 people go to this cause show this one night. Some people leave a day early. You have these different schedules and you kind of like common things and areas you meet up to do, but it's accepting to like split apart. We had one person in our group who didn't want to do the VR experience. So he walked with us to the VR experience. We all went in. He's like, you know what? I'm just going to wander around the shops and hang out a bit, and then I'll meet you back here when you're done. Wonderful. Fantastic. Everyone enjoyed that. I enjoyed that. I think that's how group travel should go. And if you're in a walkable environment, circling back to this walkable environment, if you're in a walkable environment, that's easy and not a big deal. If you like had to drive to the VR experience and then it's like, it's in a strip mall somewhere with nothing else around, and that one friend's like, hey, I'm just gonna go drive somewhere else for a bit and then drive back when you're done, and then we all drive, like, ugh, gross. So walking environments, great for flexibility. Nice experience. The other The other. Good, good transition, Standish. You're not looking at a list you have written down. The voices, internal critique. The other interesting thing I noted about myself and about the trip in general was you can be told and know that you live in a bubble. And you think, oh, there he is. He's getting political on us. And in this case, I don't mean a political bubble. I mean a cultural bubble. And of course, we all live in cultural bubbles. We all choose where we interact, where we interact, who we interact with, the media we consume, like the fun, not like the like gross news media, like fun media. Like, do you watch Marvel movies? Do you into Star Wars? Do you just read Pride and Prejudice? Do you love Bridgerton? Do you watch a lot of anime? Do you watch a lot of VTubers? Do you watch a lot of Flesh Tubers? Do you watch Fortnite streams? Do you play, like, the media we consume normalizes us. I'm just going to ban this word about very liberally here. Normalizes us to different things. And you go about your life, you cruise along. You're like, yeah, I'm just a little fox boy on the internet streaming games. That's normal. And you go somewhere like Las Vegas with friends who perhaps aren't all on board with VTubers or streamers or anime or anything like that. And you experience essentially a sudden realization that your cultural Overton window has shifted so far in one direction that what you think is normal may not be culturally normal. And you may have it in the back of your head, and you may realize it when you go visit family and you adopt a different persona than you are around friends or online or at work. And this trip for me did that in a couple of different ways. One is, I started numbering things that having a list. This isn't written down. A lot of the hobbies and I don't know, things people enjoy. Like a lot of sports we're playing on a lot of screens. A lot of people are like betting on sports. Different type of food people enjoy. It's like, a lot of meat type steak places. It's always interesting to get that reflection from a different place you didn't quite expect, and be like, oh, this is calling Las Vegas normal is probably a bit much, but this is like a normal American experience or even desires are like based on what is being sold in the town. Like those monster truck experiences, or like all these shopping things behind me, or like having the giant margarita drinks. And it's just like, oh wow, perhaps what I think of normal has been shifted a bit on the Overton window. Trying to decide if I want to talk about this topic or not. Maybe. Why not? I'm going to yell this topic into the winds. I'm going to start with a different topic and segue into it. Travel is great for it. Travel is great for it in some ways. And unless the shift is you experience something, you're like, oh, damn. I like what I have at home better. Sometimes you experience something with traveling, you're like, you get home, you're like, oh, wow, my bed is terrible. That bed in the hotel is wonderful and great and way better. And I come home to my janky pillows I got at IKEA. What am I doing with myself? So that is always a takeaway from travel is what can you take back home and apply to your normal self? I think the one thing that change things, or just even just acknowledge things about your, like, confirm and acknowledge things about your life or yourself that you're like either on the fence about or you weren't certain about, but then you see like, you see the contrast somewhere and you're like, oh wow, maybe this thing I was uncertain about is less uncertain. And I feel the big one for me was like the amount of like romance and sexuality on sale and display in Las Vegas to me was like a bit jarring as something that's not big in my life. Like, I think it was like we saw a big billboard on the way in and it was like, what was it? It was Thunder Down Under. It was just like 6 burly, presumably Australians with 18 abs each on display. Or you get a bunch of like the burlesque shows or girls wearing like the big feathery carnival type outfits. And you realize that like, probably not for me. Probably not for me. And it's one of those things I've been like mulling over for like probably the past year and a half. It's like, I don't have interest in this. Is this a passing feeling or is this a permanent feeling? And you're like, And then TikTok starts serving you content. And you're like, well, if TikTok algorithm thinks it's true, it's probably a bit likely. But the difficulty is, it's hard to apply a label to, I find it hard to apply a label to yourself that's like not liking something. I had this deep struggle in high school, I want to say. Let's say I think it was high school. Of realizing, there's a good point. There's a point in a lot of people's life. For me, you realize that maybe, you know what? Maybe I'm an atheist. Maybe I'm an atheist. Maybe God is dead. And all we have is the anime to support us in our trying times. But for me, it was always hard to identify with that label. Even now, it's like 30 years later. It's 25 years later. Let's say 25 years later. 25 years later, identify with that label of like labeling myself. Like, I don't identify as like an atheist with a capital A, right? Like, there's definitely like, especially like circa 20 years ago, atheist with a capital A. And like, I never like identified with that label. I never liked it for myself just because it's like not liking something and not like believing in something. It's hard to be like, oh, that's my identity of not doing something, you know? Same for like being vegetarian. It's like, that's generally how I eat and live my life, but I don't like super identify with the label vegetarian because I'm like, that just means I'm not eating something. I use that one because it's a convenient cultural shorthand, mind you. And for that regard, these labels are pretty nice. But I always feel like a sense of fraud in applying these labels to myself and saying like, oh, I'm vegetarian. Like, well, there's some exceptions about these different things. And it's like, can I use that label then? Is the vegetarian police going to come after me? Are the atheism police going to come after me if I want to attribute small spiritual gratitude in my life to my apartment? My apartment is not animate, but I thank my apartment every night anyway for being a great apartment. Right? I think like labels as the shorthand, super useful, super great. I had to struggle, like it's a mix of applying labels and a good healthy dose of a imposter syndrome reduction sauce on top of it. It's like, at what point can I call myself a scientist? Right? 1 published paper, 2 published papers, a doctorate. Is that what I call myself a scientist? Do I need a job with the title scientist? It's like, no. You can just call yourself that and no one's gonna like hunt you down and like shake you and be like, you used this label wrong. But the one for me, identifying trends, paths of my life from high school onward, through different relationships, out of different relationships, into other relationships, into the past year and a half, is like, I'm pretty sure, again, this is like Is it 100% for applying a label? Is it just a shorthand? Who knows? I'm pretty sure at this point, I'm probably Aero Ace to some small to large degree. And it's something where I'm like, I've been struggling with this idea for like probably a year. I'd say a year, like reflecting back, connecting the dots between behaviors, patterns, how I felt deep in the past. But it's something of like a label of not doing something. And I'm like I saw there was like about a couple weeks ago, Blue Sky started really blowing up. They have like Blue Sky starter packs. And there was like a 30 plus year old VTuber starter pack that I joined. But there's other one that was just like Aero Ace starter pack for VTubers. And I'm like, I could join that, but I just don't identify. I don't want to apply like, am I qualified to apply that label? It's like I have been in several long-term relationships. Like I have been married at some point. Am I allowed to use labels like this? But it's like, is this a temporary feeling? Is it a permanent one? Will the Aero Ace police come after me in 2 years? I hope not. I hope not. Well, you know what? They're probably nice people, so it's probably fine. We'll get some garlic bread or something. But this contrast in Las Vegas and seeing how other people were talking about relationships, how people were talking about romance, physical attraction, seeing everything around in the city, and how other people were approaching it, really highlighted to me that like I have carved out a space for myself in my life, unwittingly in some ways, that is very much not sexualized in any way. And like the media I consume, I avoid. I don't do a lot of like the Western media that might have it in there as a norm. And so I kind of like didn't realize how I shifted that over to the window until seeing like the stark opposite contrast of the Las Vegas side of things. And I was just like, oh, other people think about this differently and approach it differently. And that is what normal probably is. And what I feel isn't actually in line with the normal standard. So maybe this label is more accurate than I've been giving it credit for, living in my little cultural bubble that I've carved my say-so wholesome little bubble, which on retrospect, if you look at how I played Boyfriend Dungeon, you're just like, everybody knew but you. It's probably true. I think I kissed one person in Boyfriend Dungeon. It made me very uncomfortable. And I had to drop that relationship real quick. I shake my head at myself, my own past behaviors. But hey, you know what? It's something. I've never brought this up or told anyone about this. And you know what I figured? The anonymity of a stream on Twitch into the greater public domain, best place to do it. It's like posting these things to Tumblr. It goes into the void. Maybe some of you know will read it. Maybe some of you know won't. Maybe it's fine. You know what? There's nuance to it. We don't need to go into nuance here. I don't really want to go into nuance here. I could at some point do a deeper stream on, here are my life experiences that led me to this conclusion. But that's only if there's like deep interest from people. It's not that I don't want to talk about it, but I feel it's a topic that may or may not be interested to a broader audience of 5 viewers. But that's one thing Las Vegas did, is provide that contrast. And I think that is one thing about travel that I get anxious, and like 2 days leading up to travel, I'm like, I don't want to go. Why did I plan this trip? I just want to stay home. I just want to be cozy in my pajamas. In my fall themed baking, I want to bake myself a pumpkin pie. I don't want to travel. I have all my routines. I got to stream these games I want to play. I have a Satisfactory factory to finish. I don't want to travel. And then like during travel, I'm enjoying myself. And then I get home like, oh, look at all these lessons, all these things we did. It was fine. And just like, why do I do this every trip? And every trip is like, feels a bit too long, be it 4 days or 2 weeks. I need to work on this. I need to remember I do enjoy traveling. I enjoy parts of traveling. There's some parts I don't enjoy, but that's a price that needs to be paid. And at the same time, maybe I just won't fly there for a while and I'll just travel locally. Visit national parks, drive to some nearby kitschy towns, go to a mountain, go to the coast, find a lodge to stay in, do light walks in forests, not hikes, light walks in forests. Find some other events that would like the VR experience. Oh man, that was the one thought I had on this trip. Sometimes you get hit, like you get hit by lightning of a thought, and you're like, you got to stop everything because you're just like, why haven't I thought about this before? Why didn't this cross my mind today? Why didn't it cross my mind a year ago? It's like I made an ice skating event and a bunch of people signed up real fast to join and go for it. I'm like, there's an audience of friends out there. I tricked people to get lost in a corn maze at night. And they listened to me when I said, I'm going to get you lost, follow me. And they followed me like a Pied Piper leading millennials into the dark. And this is something I forget I really enjoy. And that's laser tag. And this is a hard pivot shift maybe from other things, but it feels like a Vegas-y like concept. But I've only done laser tag maybe 6 times in my life. And I've loved it every time. Be it as kid with friends, as an awkward office morale event. But I like doing it with people I know. A lot of events are a lot more fun people you know. I don't want to solo queue for laser tag, hard pass. But I'm like, shit, man. I could just do that here. I don't have to be in Las Vegas or some fancy traveling to play laser tag. So that was a bolt from blue thought I had while I had I forget where I was, like at a restaurant or something. Like get my phone out and like create a Discord event or thread to coordinate some laser tag. I just had like laser tag and that's it. And like people started joining. I'm just like, we're so there. We're so in. We got this. I forget the Gen Alpha phrases. It'll come to me. I'm in my late 30s. I don't need to remember these things. Late 30s. Hurts me every time. Oh man, laser tag is I'm like, how much time do I have? Like, I don't have a time limit. If you've played any first-person shooter or video games, and you are okay with moving around and with friends, laser tag is a absolute blast. The one I did 5 years ago, we had 3 rounds, I think, and it was like 2 versus 2 capture the flag, where you just essentially have your 2 teams, and like if you get shot, you have to go back to your base, regenerate, and your goal is to go up there and shoot their flag effectively and then carry it back through the machines. We had a team deathmatch, which there was no capture the flag, but it was just like straight up deathmatch style. And they're all like in these warehouses with multi-levels and fog machines, and it's dark and there's mirrors, and it's just like, it's great. It's all the joys of shooting your friends without the pain of paintball. And then they had another one that was just pure solo deathmatch. And you're squatting behind walls. You're trying to snipe people. You're trying to like get good cover and like sneak up on people and listen and use all the tactical skills you developed through first-person shooter games and apply it in person to laser tag. Oh, it's so good. It's so good. Afterwards, like whenever I've done it, my thighs have just absolutely been destroyed. I spent the whole game like crouched down, squatting and running around, like running here and running there and like going over and shooting and ducking down. Oh, I love it. I love it. So that's something I need to coordinate and see if I can do that more regularly. Another one I think is like escape rooms could be fun with friends. Because I think of some of these like gimmicky experiences I've only done like in social situations that perhaps weren't the best. Like an awkward work morale event, let's say, for escape rooms. So doing it with friends would be tons of fun. And so it's kind of like realizing like I can just, not everything has to be like, let's go to a restaurant. We can do some of these other experiences, and that can be fun to do as adults. With the inevitable challenge of scheduling coordination. Womp, womp, womp. And Las Vegas we planned 6 months out, and it worked great. And I've planned other events 2 or 3 months out. And I think just honestly, it's gotta plan things 2 to 3 months out and become that person who is, it'll make my parents proud, bring a tear to their eyes. My parents always have like full social calendar 6 to 12 months out. So whenever I'm like, oh, they're going to come visit, they're like, let's check to make sure we're available for you to visit. I'm like, I'm your baby boy. Not this time. I'm going to be like, I'm staying in Seattle. I'm staying where I am. Bye-bye. Not going to California. I still need to break that news and I'm stalling. I'm stalling so hard on this. It's not even telling them that. It's just like, I can't make it for Christmas. My brother can't make it for Christmas. The problem is they already have friends planning to come over. They're having a huge New Year's Eve party. They're fine. They don't need me there. I don't need to be there. I want to be here at home, cozy with my routines and streaming. That's my day list for tomorrow. My day list for tomorrow, besides eating the pumpkin pie I baked today, is tell parents that I'm not coming home for Christmas. Also decide my next games. Because I finished Satisfactory this afternoon, I need to pick another strategy game. Satisfactory's done. Dice Sphere's done. I did a Roller Coaster Tycoon. Could start Anno next. We'll see. I'll noodle on that. The next day or two. We'll find out when I put up the Sunday schedule what I want to do for the next on-theme game. I did see. I thought about streaming this, but then I tried it out today and decided not to. Unreal and Unreal Tournament have gone completely free. So from our Internet Archive, you can download the ISOs free from Epic. They said absolutely free for Unreal and Unreal Tournament. And there's a team has developed a wrapper for the games that does a download. It's called like Old Unreal, I think. Downloads the ISOs from the Internet Archive, installs it, lets you do like modern resolutions and scaling and things on it. So I tried it today. I'm like, I'll try it and see if I want to stream it. And the movement doesn't feel great. I'm like, no, my nostalgia. Oh, it could be any like tweak the mouse settings. I think the mouse sensitivities and acceleration is really weird, or the latency. But I'm just like, my nostalgia. Oh. Rip. It could also be I was playing against a single bot in a deathmatch, and not my beloved CTF face. Instagib CTF face. Oh, that's my life. My deep life for so long. I love that map. Or Rockets Only. Oh, delightful. I think honestly, let nostalgia lie and only return infrequently with the accepting of how things are. And that's okay. I think Roller Coaster Tycoon 2 was a bit like this. I forgot that they're short, can't like 2-3 hour affairs and not like sprawling megalopolises. So I'll probably do like Anno next or something. I've been threatening Anno for a while to myself and here. I'll noodle on it. I still want to deal with the Ubisoft launcher. Ubisoft launcher. But probably going to start wrapping things up here. This was my trip to the Las Vegas. First, maybe last. Put my radar back on. First, maybe last Las Vegas trip. Sorry, Las Vegas. Not necessarily for me. I think visiting American cities, there's probably a couple more I'd want to visit, but like, it's not a place I'd want to go if I'm traveling. As a gentleman, thank you everyone who joined today. Like, subscribe, blah, 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 blah. If you're joining on Twitch, VODs are on YouTube. I've essentially now completely stopped posting on Twitter. I now post on Blue Sky instead. Links should be below, I hope. Next stream is going to be Sunday. Oh, next scheduled stream. Going to be Sunday afternoon for Little Goody Two Shoes, who has some. I'm going to show this off because I'm pretty private. I've been trying to make better thumbnails for myself. So this is what I made. It's my thumbnail I made for myself for Little Goody Two Shoes, or of myself. Glenn coming just in time for the little Goody Two Shoes hype up on Sunday. It was gonna be Wednesday, but my ISP had their basement flooded and all the machines stopped working, so they couldn't blah 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 blah. So I have to wait till Sunday. This is my trace to sketched version and adapted of me as having not knowing anything about the game and going fully blind. I'm going to assume her name is Little Goody. And so this is Little Goody Toussaint-ish right here. See the yeah, pretty close resemblance. Let's look at this. Look at this. Uncanny. It's like I just adapted. Oh my God, scaling things. Look at that. Look at that. Identical. Identical. Mostly because I match my color palette. Also, I'm just going to say this. I'm just going to say it here. I look pretty good in this dress. I look pretty good in this dress. I mean, I have the stocking match, right? So getting there. Oh God, too small. I thought about doing the clothes in my color, but the red I think was iconic for the full look. But anyway, that is on. I'm behind the light. That's on Sunday. I might do some other streams between now and then. I'll put it on Blue Sky, Discord, blah 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 blah, or just go live. No notifications. See what happens. I still don't know if social media helps versus organic discovery through YouTube and Twitch. It's a mystery. I'm not looking too much. I'm not monetized. It's fine. So hopefully I will see everybody on my next stream, either sometime tomorrow or for Little Goody Two Shoes on Sunday. With that, I'm going to say good night, everybody.